a lot of the infrastructure in our country, right, is degrading and aging. Certainly on this commercial retail build out, if you look back historically, kind of the 70s, 80s, 90s was this huge boom in suburban areas growing, all these retailers growing nationally. And so you've got all this infrastructure now that's 20, 30 years old and a lot of it has never had maintenance done.
Absolutely.
The most maintenance they've had done is a pole falls over and they put up a new one.
Absolutely.
And so you've got all this infrastructure that was probably built with maybe a 10 or 15 year original life that is now 20 or 25 years old. So maybe walk me through that as a facility manager, right? Maybe you don't know you have a problem. And someone like you calls them and says, hey, let me explain this to you or try to boil this down to some simple terms. Like, what would you tell them?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times when I'm on these calls, I hear, well, nothing's happened during my time here, right? And they may have been in their role 2 or 3 years, and they may absolutely be right. Maybe nothing did happen while they were there, but I can assure you something happened before and something will happen. And a lot of these conversations I'm having are, I assure you, a proactive approach. It's going to cost you today in money, but ultimately the life cycle and the cost over time is going to be much lower and flattened out. And when they come to me and say, Justin, we just don't have a problem, right? I don't understand why you can say that, right? One, I have photo, I have data, I can walk through that, no problem. But it really helps them understand the need for this program. Because at the end of the day, like you said, the brick and mortar boom did happen, and there were no maintenance programs, and there are no regulations and codes that say you have to do it. Right? This is truly a safety risk, and this is why we step in and do this for these clients and help them out on these calls.
And you're right, and I think that you hit on a big driver there. We can empirically show with our data, our photos, our reports, and our data portal what we're seeing. And usually they're trying to throw that against the perception of what they believe,
Agreed.
right? And, look, like you said, maybe your system's perfectly good, but if you're not looking, you don't know.
Agreed.
And I think this reactionary view that the market currently has some real fallacies in it. And primarily it's a cost driver, right? I mean, we can inspect and remediate, light remediation, touching up paint and deal with proactive maintenance for cycle upon cycle upon cycle versus the cost of replacing. And so we can extend the life of those assets for decades with just a little bit of proactive maintenance versus thousands of dollars to replace one, and sometimes much higher than that if it's an emergency replacement, right, where it's something fell down.